The heavy metal door clicked shut behind me with a sound like a breaking bone. For a second, I just stood there, letting my eyes adjust. The air was thick and smelled like a library that had caught on fire, a mix of old paper, dust, and a sharp, smoky tang. This was it. The archive. The most exclusive, most mysterious escape room in the city. My friends had dared me to try it, said no one had ever solved it. Challenge accepted. The room wasn't big. I could walk from one end to the other in about 10 steps. But it felt tight, claustrophobic, like the walls were slowly leaning in. And the walls, they were the weirdest part. Every single inch was covered in newspaper clippings. They were yellowed and brittle, and the edges of every single one were scorched black, as if they'd each been rescued from a different fire. The lighting was strange, too. It wasn't a steady bulb, but a shifting, oily light that slid across the walls, making the headlines seem to wiggle. One moment the room was bathed in a sickly yellow, the next a deep, bruised purple. In the center of the room, 2 old-fashioned televisions were stacked on top of each other. They looked like they were from my grandpa's time, with big dials and rounded screens. The top one showed nothing but static, a frantic hissing blizzard of black and white dots. The bottom TV was even stranger. It would flicker with the same static, then dissolve into an image of deep space. Not the pretty kind you see in science movies, but a terrifying, empty blackness dotted with tiny, cold, twinkling lights. It was like looking into a bottomless well. Static, void, static, void. The cycle repeated, a silent, creepy heartbeat in the corner of the room. "Okay, Leo," I whispered to myself, my voice sounding small in the quiet hiss. "It's just a game. Find the first clue." I started with the walls, running my fingers over the crispy paper. The headlines were bizarre. Family of 4 vanishes after reporting holes in the sky. Lighthouse keeper's final entry describes a silent star. Lone hiker disappears, leaving only a burnt photograph. It was all very spooky and well done. The creators of this room had really committed to the theme. I had to give them credit. It was way more atmospheric than the zombie or pirate rooms I'd done before. I spent about 10 minutes searching for a hidden key, a number code, anything. I tapped the walls, checked under the TVs, even tried turning the useless dials. Nothing. The only sounds were my own breathing and the constant maddening shh of the static. I started to feel a little frustrated. The whispers started so quietly I thought I was imagining them. Faint murmurs hidden just beneath the hiss of the TV. It sounded like a crowd of people all talking at once, too far away to understand. I shook my head, trying to clear it. It was just an effect, probably a hidden speaker. Still, it was unsettling. I decided to take a closer look at the clippings, thinking a clue must be hidden in the text. I knelt down, my eyes scanning the tiny print of a story from 1982 about a girl who disappeared from her own bedroom. The paper felt strangely warm. As my eyes unfocused for a second, I thought I saw a face in the scorched, burnt part of the paper, a screaming face. I blinked hard, and it was gone. Just a black, ashy mark. My heart was starting to beat a little faster now. This was getting a little too real. That's when I saw it. Tucked behind the leg of the TV stand, there was a piece of newspaper that looked different. It was less yellow, the paper whiter, the ink darker. It looked new. I pulled it out carefully. The edges were still burnt, just like all the others, but the smell of smoke coming off it was fresh. My breath caught in my throat. The headline read, "Local teen missing after visiting downtown art exhibit." My blood turned to ice. Below the headline was a picture, a school picture of a boy with a goofy, lopsided grin, wearing a bright green t-shirt with a pixelated alien on the front. I looked down at my own chest. I was wearing the exact same shirt. I had put it on this morning. And then I saw the date on the newspaper. It was today's date. This wasn't a clue. This wasn't part of the game. This was a warning. Or maybe a prediction. Everything shifted. The fun, the challenge, the excitement. It all evaporated, replaced by a cold, sharp terror that stabbed me in the gut. This wasn't an escape room. It was a trap. "No," I said, scrambling backward. "No way. This is a trick, a really, really good trick." I jumped up and ran to the door, pounding on it with both fists. "Hello, let me out. The game's over. You guys are good. You got me. Let me out." The door didn't rattle. It didn't budge. It was like hitting a solid wall of rock. The whispers from the static TV grew louder, clearer. I could almost make out words now, names woven into the hiss, and one of them sounded like mine. "Leo, Leo, join us, Leo." I spun around, eyes wide with panic, and looked at the other TV, the one showing the cosmic void. It wasn't just a picture anymore. The blackness seemed deeper, and the twinkling lights weren't stars. They were moving. They were shifting. They looked like eyes. Hundreds of tiny, cold eyes, all staring from the screen, right at me. The air in the room grew cold, and I felt a gentle but firm pull, like a slow, invisible tide, drawing me toward the screen. I felt a strange heat spread across my skin, starting in my fingertips. I looked down at my hands. The skin looked thin, almost transparent, like tracing paper. I could see the faint blue lines of my veins, but something else was there too. Faint gray letters were appearing on my skin, like ghostly tattoos. I recognized the words from a clipping I had read earlier, "Faded into nothing but a memory." The room was changing me. It was turning me into one of them, one of the stories. I was becoming a clipping for the collection. I tried to scream, but the sound that came out was weak and thin, like the rustle of dry leaves. The edges of my vision started to curl and turn brown, like an old photograph being held over a candle. The smell of smoke was stronger now, and I realized it was coming from me. My body felt flat, weightless. The last thing I saw was a tiny dark lens I'd never noticed before, hidden in the scorched swirl of a newspaper clipping on the opposite wall. It was watching me, recording my story as it became just another whisper in the static, another burnt memory on the wall of that terrible, hungry room. And somewhere in the city, a door to an art exhibit clicked open, ready for its next visitor.